Oh, hello, beautiful people. LadyWake here. We're always transmuting trauma, and now we are enhancing, learning, elevating our intimacy so that we can thrive. Yes. So, what is intimacy? Promise I'll be back to tell you. Well, when most people say, many people say intimacy, you think of interpersonal relationships, right? So a relationship between you and somebody else and or sex. A lot of people will say intimacy is sex. It is not, but many people believe that. So when I say intimacy and when I say I use intimacy to take myself from getting over the hump of trauma to thriving and having a joyful, fulfilling life, what I mean is I learned how to be intimate with myself. And that is foundation. There's no way to be intimate with somebody else without truly being intimate with yourself. There's just a level of self-knowledge and understanding and control that you need to have before you can reach out and love on and serve someone else through intimacy. Not sex, intimacy. We'll talk about sex later. So, there's some basic tenets to intimacy that I think can be helpful. So, listen up. First thing, safe communication. Communication needs to feel safe and without boundaries. Like there should be nothing that you cannot communicate with yourself. Okay, so we're talking about intimacy that is turned within. So for me, and many people, sometimes there are things that you just don't want to really look at. You don't want to look at it. You don't want to talk about it. It's kind of there, but you don't want to give it any screen time in your mind because you're afraid or because it's painful or whatever. There's so many reasons, right? Now, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it is you blocking out things that don't serve you at all. And sometimes it is you poorly communicating with yourself. So, I know there is something about this situation that isn't working for me, but I don't want to see it yet. I don't want to think about it yet. So I'm just going to ignore the whole thing and not communicate with myself. So when my brain is saying one thing, I'm saying, be quiet, brain. My heart is saying something, I'm saying, maybe later. All right, we'll talk about that later. So if I'm pushing away parts of myself, like I'm pushing away that sovereign part that knows that she knows that she knows, right? And I'm pushing away that divine feminine that knows that she knows, and who's trying to give me a message, and that creates this crazy fragmentation of me and me, so that we're disconnected. So there's no safe communication when you're disconnected from you. So if there's a part of yourself that you're pushing away, that you're not listening to or not acknowledging, even if you don't agree, even if my mind says something and I'm like, that's not true, I can just tell my mind that's not true. Thanks for telling me, but that's not true. Thanks for reminding me, but that's not the case here. Thanks for letting me know. Instead of completely ignoring it, like, shut up, you don't matter, you don't exist. Because this same mind has to come back with some things that are true and do matter, right? Okay. Safe communication. Another thing, other people's beliefs and opinions. That's a tough one, right? But there's no way to acknowledge and understand and believe other people's beliefs and opinions about you or anything about your life without demeaning yourself, without stepping on your own neck. There's no way to do it. So there is a sweet spot when you are operating from a place of love and you have complete intimacy with yourself, meaning all communication is safe, where you can repeat things to yourself that you've heard from the outside world and trust yourself to say, that's ridiculous. That's not true. Why are you listening to him? Or if it's something you liked, You can trust yourself to say, yeah, girl, that's right. Yeah, you're the bomb. That's awesome. It's true. Yes. There's so much love around you. It's up to you. But you have to know how to filter these things. It starts with safe communication with you and you. This is all about you. It doesn't matter who's involved, it doesn't matter what they're saying or thinking or what they believe. It's about how you take it in and how you allow it to sit in your nervous system, if at all, right? And the same thing with your own beliefs and opinions. What are you believing about you, about your life, about your surroundings, about your abilities? What are your opinions about you? Do they mirror the outside opinions about you? Because if they do, that's a problem. You can't mirror other people's opinions of you and thrive. You cannot. It doesn't work. I know this is still my experience and my opinions, but it doesn't work. It doesn't. So you have to be very conscious of your own beliefs and opinions, of where they come from. And of course, this is back to the basics. This is basic, you know, trauma coaching. Understand, know who you are, understand where you come from, know your foundation, know where you started, know where you got all this stuff from. Where'd you pick up that idea that you're unworthy? Where'd you pick up that idea that you had to dress a certain way or act a certain way? Where'd you get that from? How are you reared? Okay, so you have to have safe communication. Now, your awareness of how you kind of facilitate other people's opinions and beliefs is important. And then your awareness of your own opinions and beliefs and where they come from. Because if you know how you got there, now you can just kind of cherry pick. Hey, I like this one. And this one doesn't work for me. So I'm going to, move on. Put that somewhere else. It's up to you now because you have the power to do that through safe communication and intimacy, right? This is all intimacy. These are just basic tenets of intimacy, okay? Then once you understand, you have the awareness, now you can expand that awareness to your feelings and experiences. And this one is all about meaning. What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? And what meaning are you placing on those experiences and feelings? Because that's totally up to you. There's no good or bad. No good or bad. It's all about what you decide it is. Make a decision. Decide how you feel and what that means, but make it something that serves you. Don't make a decision based on somebody else's ideas of what it should mean. Even if you think it's true, look, you got to start speaking differently to yourself to change your own narrative, right? So make a decision about your feelings that feels good, that will bring back good feelings, okay? That's the idea. And then we can finally address our needs and desires after we have this safety, after we have this awareness, after we have this control and ability to assign meaning. Now we are clear. Now we're clear. Me with me, with me with me. This is what I really need from me. And then this is what I need from the other people in my life. This is what I want from me, for me. And this is what I want for and from the other people in my life. It makes a huge difference. And then you're assured in a way that whatever you do, whoever you interact with, you're leading from a space of strength and clarity, not from the fogginess of trauma or even from the fogginess of fighting or the fogginess of struggling and working to get through something. You're leading from a place of clarity, strength. Your foundation is complete when you take the time to learn how to be intimate with you. There are no more questions of self-worth or self-love or self-nurturing or whatever labels people have for it. There are no questions of that after you decide to make yourself your primary point of intimacy first. Okay? That's the intimacy we're talking about to here. And we'll continue talking about it this year. Is all about elevating into intimacy. And so let's talk about it, y'all. Until next time, peace and love.